Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is officially here. This season builds on the dynamics from Season 1 and the storylines that were left over. The side characters seem to be more important to this season as opposed to last season. Karen is already a main focus this season compared to last season as she helps Matt Murdock. New Yorkers are now trusting Kingpin as he tries to keep vigilantes off the street. New characters such as Mr. Charles are great additions so far and can keep the show fresh while also adding to the story. With all that said, spoiler warning ahead as I go over this episode and where I believe the season could be headed. To start the episode, we see that a ship known as the Northern Star is entering New York. Daredevil is on this ship as he attempts to stop the ship. We learn that Fisk is illegally transporting weapons and he is using this ship to execute this. Daredevil starts attacking the guards and overtakes them. The captain of the ship informs that he is going to sink the ship as that is what he was instructed to do if the devil were to interfere. Daredevil tries to escape but is submerged in the wreckage. He makes it out and we see that the ship is turned over. Next, we see that the people of New York have come around to the ways of Fisk and are now happy that vigilantes are being hunted and kept off the streets. Matt makes his way back to the hideout and we see none other than Karen. They talk about the wreckage and how this will do damage to Fisk and show him that they will not back down. We also learn that Matt and Karen are back together. We can also assume that some time has passed since the finale for season 1 as we see that Daredevil now has the black suit from the promo art. How much time is unknown. Fisk visits the wreckage and he talks with Buck, his right hand man, about who else knew about what was on the ship besides them, the captain and the first mate. We are then introduced to Mr. Charles, who is a new character this season played by Matthew Lillard. He receives a call about the wreckage but from who is unknown, but we may know who it is as we will see later. Karen discusses with Matt that she will meet with her sources. The Attorney General meets with Fisk about the methods that he is taking to keep New York safe. The Attorney General threatens to take oversight of all of Fisk's operations. Mr. Charles then bursts into the room. The Attorney General then receives a call from none other than Mrs. DeFontaine, also known as Val, best known from the Thunderbolts. The Attorney General now takes Fisk's side after the call. It is unknown what was said on the call. This confirms that Mr. Charles is in contact and working with Val. This also poses a question as to whether or not Fisk is in contact with Val and if he knows about the new Avengers. We see that Karen picks up a folder from one of her contacts. Next, we see that Heather is performing a psychological evaluation on Jack, who is also known as the Swordsman, making his return from season 1. She intimidates him and forces him to answer some questions, threatening that no one can do anything about his situation and she can make it worse. We see that Heather has visions of Muse as a result of PTSD after she was attacked by him in season 1. Heather also seems to be taking a darker path that was hinted at by the series creators as she now works with Fisk. We then see Cherry and Kirsten as she asks if there is any word on Matt. He assures her that he will be fine. It is known that she does not know that Matt is Daredevil, only Cherry does. The convo is then interrupted by a new character, Hawkberg. He speaks with Kirsten as he convinces her to join his team and she stays firm. Cherry meets up with Matt and discusses their next moves to expose Fisk. They speak about getting more information about the weapons on the ship in an attempt to expose Fisk. They speak about the captain and the first mate, and Matt asks Cherry to find out more information. We see the anti-vigilante task force arrive and force their way into a small restaurant looking for a captain. The owner tries to stall them and lie, but they find him and take him away. Next, we get a video showcasing that someone else is out to expose Fisk as they make an anti-propaganda video on Fisk in an attempt to expose his secrets. It is unknown who this person is, but BB Urich is a person of interest at the moment, as we will see later in the episode. BB then attends a party hosted by Daniel at his apartment. She warns him to be careful and makes sure that nothing happens to him while he is working with Fisk. It is after this scene that we get a glimpse of Avengers Tower, which we all know is owned now by Val and houses the new Avengers. Next, Matt goes to visit Ariana, who is the owner of the restaurant, to find out more about Kelio and Kristoff, who is the captain and the mates. We learn that she helps people escape from the city and that she was helping them as well. We see that the task force is interrogating Kelio. Powell asks Kelio where Kristoff is, but Kelio doesn't know. Buck comes in and takes over. He fakes out Kelio, making him believe that he will live, but kills him as they do not want any loose ends. The Fisk and Mr. Charles have a meeting. Mr. Charles talks about the port and how it is going wrong. Mr. Charles offers his services and explains how he can arrange an expandable crew to move all the imports and have nothing be traced back to them. Vanessa also mentions if Charles is even his real name, which may come back later in a reveal down the line. They all agree to work together. BB then meets up with Karen as she is revealed to be working with Karen, feeding her information on Fisk that she gets from Daniel. Karen warns BB about the dangers of their work. They speak about Ben Urich, who last appeared in the Netflix series and was murdered by Fisk. Karen feels guilt as she feels that Ben died for her. She does not want BB to suffer the same fate as Ben. In the next scene, we see that Heather gets a call from Hawkberg about Jack Duquesne, but he wants to convince the jury that Jack is a sociopath. Heather then sees Muse again and loses focus. She then changes the answers from the test she gave Duquesne to convey that he is a sociopath, which also furthers the dark path that she is taking. We get a flashback to the evaluation. Heather asks Jack, "Evil spirits possess me at times, true or false?" Jack is startled but answers false. Heather changes the answer to true. This can also signify that she is being possessed by evil spirits or thoughts in her mind that may take her down a darker path. We then see Karen and Matt training in combat, and they talk about what they learned from their contacts on their journeys. They talk about the old days, being lawyers, and how they sometimes miss that part of their lives. We then see Christophe go to Ariana in an attempt to get help. To end the episode, the task force goes to Cherry's apartment. He messages Matt no regarding the meeting tonight. Matt knew that Sherry would not say no, so he knew that something is wrong. The task force forces their way inside and starts interrogating Cherry. They beat him, and this is when Daredevil arrives. He fights the task force and is winning until he senses Sherry's heart rate increasing, reminding him of the day that Foggy was murdered. This causes him to lose his focus and the task force overpowers him. They unmask him and see that it is Matt Murdock. It seems as if they have won until someone attacks them. We do not see who it is until a knife lands in front of Matt, saying, "You're welcome," with a bullseye in the middle. This is where the episode ends. This was such a great opener for the season. The episode builds off of where last season ended and also adds new elements to this season. The question that many have coming out of this episode is who Mr. Charles is. This is a great question because of the power that it seems that he holds. He is also connected to Val, and as I said earlier, Val may be in contact with Fisk, which brings up the question if Fisk knows about the new Avengers, given that he hates vigilantes. We do know that the new Avengers are funded by the government, so this could be why Fisk does not care, as they are not really considered vigilantes. Another question that I have is what is going on with Heather? She seems to have PTSD and is now working with Fisk as he offered her a job at the end of last season. She seems to be taking a darker path. It does seem that she may take on the Muse persona as the season goes on. She seems to be giving into her darker side and thoughts, and this could lead to her fighting with Daredevil, crossing their paths once again. Also, with the cliffhanger at the end, it does seem that Bullseye may have a redemption arc on the way. Overall, this season is off to a great start, and the season is heading down a great path. Episodes 2 and 3 both premiere next week. I will be back talking about those after. Let me know down below your thoughts and theories so far about the season. I'll see you in the next one, and as always, God bless all. After the premiere of Daredevil Born Again Season 2, I was certain that this season would be nothing short of amazing. So far, this has been the case. The first 3 episodes have been great, and this season is off to a great start. This week, the story progressed smoothly as Marvel decided to give us 2 new episodes this week instead of 1, releasing episodes 2 and 3. I will say that episode 2 did not have much action, as it was one of those episodes that filled in some of those questions that were brought up from last episodes. Most notable being the anti-propaganda Kingpin video. Rather than going through both whole episodes, I will be going over the key details of each episode and what they could mean for the rest of the season going forward, starting with episode 2. At the end of the premiere, we see that Daredevil gets overrun while fighting the AVTF, and it seems that he has lost. Someone helps him, and it is no other than Bullseye. In this episode, it seems that Daredevil is suspecting that Bullseye is seeing eye to eye with him and that they are both going after Fisk. Karen, on the other hand, does not care if Bullseye has quote-unquote switched sides because he killed Foggy. Later in the episode, we see that the AVTF wants to go after Daredevil by hurting Cherry, and we see that they get halted by Angie returning from season 1. Once they enter the elevator and go down, someone opens that hatch and comes down. I at first believed it was Daredevil, but it was actually Bullseye. Later in the episode, we also see Vanessa and Heather having a conversation, and we see that Vanessa suspects someone is watching her from afar, and Bullseye was indeed watching her. Vanessa is also starting to have nightmares about Bullseye coming after her. At the end of the first season, we know that Bullseye escapes prison and goes to kill Fisk, and he is almost successful until Matt Murdock steps in and takes the bullet for Fisk. We see in the first episode that someone is posting anti-propaganda videos about Fisk to expose what he is doing. Daniel knows about this, and he knows that the leak came from his laptop because no one outside of Fisk's circle is supposed to have that information, and he knows that only BB would be able to get this information. Fisk confronts Daniel and asks about the video and if he is the one who is leaking. Fisk reminds him not to betray him or that will be the last thing that he ever does. Fisk asks him if he needs Sophia to protect anyone in that building. Daniel says, "Yes, to protect you, sir." This keeps Daniel alive for now. Daniel is looking more and more likely to be killed off this season by Fisk or Buck, as he is confirmed not to return for season 3, and now with this confrontation, he is now on Fisk's list. Daniel invites BB over to work on some stuff and even cooked her dinner. This is all for show, as Daniel really invited her to confront her to see if she is the one leaking information about Fisk. He warns her that not only can she get hurt, but that they both can get hurt if she is the one doing this, and he asks her to please stop if she is indeed the one doing this. After this confrontation, another one of these videos airs, and it is revealed that it is indeed BB that is behind the mask and recording these videos of herself trying to expose Fisk. Fisk will find out about this later in the season without a doubt, and this will most likely cost Daniel his life and will put BB in more danger. Moving on, we see that the AVTF goes back to Ariana's restaurant and she is arrested. This is most likely due to her helping people escape New York. We are then reintroduced to Angela de Toro, who returns from season 1. She is the niece of the White Tiger character Hector the Toro from season 1, who was murdered. She is with her Aunt Soledad walking when they decide to grab a snack from a corner store. The teenage boys who are there are up to no good and they are trying to steal a bottle from the store. Soledad confronts the teens and tells them to put the bottle back. This is when the store owner pulls out a shotgun and aims it at the boys, saying that he is tired of them stealing and ruining his store. This is when the AVTF comes in and drags the teen to the ground. Soledad tries to help the teen, stating that he is just a kid, and when she grabs the guard, he arrests her for assault on an officer. There is pure chaos outside as nobody wants the AVTF there. Angela is left alone and ends up going to Kirsten, who is still in the office at work, and Kirsten takes Angela in. Angela asks to see the White Tiger suit, and this could suggest that Angela will become the White Tiger in the future. To end the episode, Karen and Matt are with Josie at the bar as they talk. It is revealed that their hideout is above this bar as Josie closed the bar after the events of season 1. Karen and Matt are discovered by the AVTF and Daredevil fights off the guards and tells Josie to get far away from there as possible. Karen takes off on her own and fights off a guard. Daredevil handles the guards and proceeds to look for Karen. Karen finds him and she says she needs to show him something. It is revealed that Karen has captured the guard that she fought off. She says, "They are hunting us, it's time we start hunting them." This episode does great things. It establishes that Bullseye is still going after the Fist and that he is no longer going after Daredevil as it stands. Fist suspects Daniel of leaking information, and now we know that it is indeed BB that is behind the anti-propaganda videos being made to expose Fist. Ariana is now arrested and it is unknown if we will see her again in the season, but I believe that we will. Angela is back and they are setting her up to become the next White Tiger. We may even see her attempt to go looking for her aunt and try to save her. Where does Josie go as the bar is no longer safe? Karen and Matt's hideout is now exposed, and what information can they get from the guard that Karen captured? Episode 3 starts directly after episode 2. We see Daredevil and Karen interrogate the guard. The guard says he wants to help them because he doesn't like the AVTF or working for Fisk. He gives them information about Red Hook. They knock him out and leave him outside. We then cut to Heather and see her hyperventilating as she pulls the Muse mask out from her desk, further hinting that she may become the new Muse later in the season. Kirsten and Heather meet outside the courthouse as the vigilante trials are coming up, and Kirsten questions why she is working with Fisk. Heather rebuts and states that all vigilantes are dangerous and need to be punished. Heather also states that Matt was blind and that he lied to them both. Kirsten then leaves and goes to talk with Duquesne as she will be his defense in the trial. They talk about how there is no evidence against him for his trial, and Duquesne says that evidence is not needed. Fisk will win. He also tells Kirsten about the time that Fisk tried to get Duquesne to help him and how he refused and ended up captured and locked away there. This is referencing episode 8 from season 1 where we see this very conversation. We then cut and see the victims of Fisk caged up as we also saw at the end of season 1. Matt and Karen have an argument as Karen mentions how she wishes Frame Castle were there to aid them. Matt says that murder is not the way and that this isn't what Foggy would have wanted. Next, the governor confronts Fisk about his use of Red Hook after Karen anonymously sent her the evidence against Fisk about what he is using Red Hook for. Fisk is visibly upset but nothing happened. Next, Buck and Daniel have a friendly convo, then Buck asks Daniel to keep on searching for who is behind the anti-propaganda videos of Fisk. Daniel is visibly worried as he suspects that BB is the one behind this. We see another one of these exact videos as this time the focus is on Fisk imprisoning Duquesne. The vigilante trials start and the judges have already sided with Fisk from the start. Hogbird is able to claim all these things against Duquesne and Kirsten can only watch as her objections always get rejected. Kirsten claims that it is an unfair trial as she only had 2 days to build a defense for Duquesne, as the trial was moved up without her having any knowledge. Kirsten pleads for more time, but the judges are not in her favor and reject. Duquesne is found guilty of all charges and is sent back to Red Hook. Next, at the governor's dinner, Vanessa congratulates Heather on winning the trial and sits her next to Buck. Heather and Buck have a friendly conversation about everyone in the room, and hints of a future romance are hinted at. Matt goes to Kirsten as Daredevil and asks for her help. He asks what she remembers about Red Hook using her senses. With this, Daredevil infiltrates Red Hook using his senses. Daredevil finds the cages that the prisoners are kept in, and with the help of Duquesne, he frees them. Daredevil and Duquesne fight out the guards and help the prisoners escape. Karen is alone as someone runs past her. This turns out to be Angela as she has come to find her aunt. Angela has stolen some gear from the AVTF guards and has an idea. Karen and Angela go to help Daredevil as they are cornered by the AVTF, firing at will. Karen and Angela use an AVTF tanker truck to help load the prisoners as Duquesne drives the truck and helps them escape. Angela goes with them as she slashes the other AVTF truck tires so they cannot pursue. Karen and Daredevil go on their own. Powell informs Fisk about what occurred and Fisk instructs them to blow up the Northern Star with the night crew on board to cover the escape and use that as the story. This week was full of action, specifically episode 3. Both these episodes progress the story well and we are starting to put the pieces together for the rest of the season. We still have more to come during the rest of the season and we are barely starting to touch the tip. We still have Jessica Jones coming later in the season as well as the possibility of Heather becoming Muse and becoming the one she so much hates. BB is putting Daniel and herself in danger by leaking the information with the videos and sooner rather than later this will catch up to her. Mr. Charles did not appear in any of these 2 episodes but he is sure to appear soon. More is to come as this season wraps up. Comment below your thoughts on episode 2 and 3. Will Daniel be killed by Fisk? I'll see you in the next one and as always, God bless all. This week's episode of Daredevil was non-stop action. This episode was mostly dedicated to Bullseye and served as a mid-season episode for the season. The season has been off to a great start, and now at the midway point of the season, the story is ramping up, and with the ending to this episode, this will hold major implications going forward. This episode starts off with Bullseye as we see that he is in an apartment. How he was able to get this apartment is unknown, but he may have used a fake name and ID. We see him greet his neighbor, and afterwards he heads to a diner. He orders a milkshake and then calls the emergency hotline to report that he saw Frank Castle walk into the diner. He uses Frank's name to lure in the AVTF. A battle commences and Bullseye takes all the guards out and leaves his symbol on the door. We then cut and see another one of the anti-propaganda fist videos that BB is making. We then cut to the escapees from the last episode. Soldado gives a speech about how she was captured and who did this. Duquesne has a convo with Matt as he heads off alone and leaves Matt and Karen with his accounts to use when needed. Angela convinces Karen to give her the SD card to deliver to BB. Matt then senses that someone has come and it is none other than Christophe, the first mate from the Northern Star. He says that he has come to help. We then cut to Fist as he sends Vanessa away for the day as he does not want her present for the fight in case anything goes sideways. Vanessa is visibly upset about this as she feels that he is shutting her out. Matt and Karen have a conversation about what to do next, and Daredevil goes to look for Bullseye. Next, we see that the AVTF storms into the office looking for Duquesne and Kirsten threatens to sue them. They do not find Duquesne and leave. We then cut to Fisk and Mr. Charles, who makes a return in this episode. They have a convo and Mr. Charles threatens Fisk about the free report and that everything is still not going according to plan. He brings in two of his guards and Buck takes him out as Fisk is visibly upset at Mr. Charles and they leave. Karen goes to Kirsten for help. Kirsten asks about the whereabouts of Matt and Karen tells her that she cannot tell her, but that he is in good condition. Kirsten agrees to help and they go to interview Christophe about what he knew about the Northern Star. Vanessa talks to the governor. The governor does not trust Wilson and will not back him, but she will back Wilson and Vanessa because she trusts Vanessa. Matt then goes to the diner disguised as an AVTF member and investigates the scene. He finds the coin that Bullseye was using. He then goes to the church as he knows that this is where the coin came from, as this is the church that Matt grew up. He prays and then asks the priest if he knows where the coin came from and who took it. The priest tells him about Poindexter, and this is how Matt is able to narrow down his location. Matt finds Bullseye and they fight until Bullseye takes his neighbor hostage as he tells Daredevil his plan to kill the Fist. We then cut back to Angela. We see her go to Javi, who is the boy from the second episode. She gives him a wad of cash with the SD card inside and tells him to give it to BB. Javi then goes to BB and pretends to be a huge fan of her show. He asks for a photo and puts the SD card in her coat while they take the photo. Daniel was there and he found this weird but doesn't worry. Before the fight, Buck gets a tip about Christophe and where he will be. The US Marshals pick Christophe up to transfer him, and when they get to the undisclosed location, Buck takes the Marshals out before taking Christophe out. As the fight starts, there are AVTF guards everywhere as every entrance is blocked off besides the front as Fisk instructed. Fisk is dominating the fight. He is dominating and Melendez, whom he is fighting, does not stand a chance. As Fisk dominates the fight, Vanessa arrives and this throws Fisk off. Melendez gets a good shot in and this upsets Fisk. He knocks out Melendez and wins the fight. Everything is going well until Bullseye shows up. He comes in through the front entrance as that entrance had no guards, as Fisk instructed. Bullseye takes out the AVTF guards and then proceeds to go after Vanessa. Fisk instructs them to get Vanessa out of there. She breaks free and pulls her gun out as she shoots Bullseye. Bullseye throws an object that was being sold at the fight at Vanessa. Fisk ricochets the object as it breaks. Fisk is about to shoot Bullseye, and this is where Daredevil comes in and knocks the gun out of Fisk's hand as he tackles Bullseye through the window outside as they both escape. This is where the reveal happens. A shard from the object ricochets and strikes Vanessa on the side of her head. Vanessa falls to the ground as she bleeds out as Fisk pleads for an ambulance. Vanessa is still seen breathing in the last shot. Her fate is unknown. This week's episode was nothing short of amazing. We got to see a lot more Bullseye and we learned what his motives are. The big reveal is the ending. Is this truly the end of Vanessa? We will not know about her fate at least until episode 5, most likely, but even if she does survive, this will hold major implications. Fisk will now truly hate vigilantes more than he ever has, and he will do everything in his power to kill Daredevil, especially Bullseye. Comment down your thoughts on this episode. Do you believe that Vanessa will survive, or will this be the end of Vanessa as we know it? I'll see you in the next one, and as always, God bless all. This week's episode of Daredevil was mostly flashbacks, but it also dealt with the aftermath of episode 4. This episode brought the past and present together while also making the characters make tough choices. This episode deals with loss, redemption, and second chances as the focal points. The season is ramping up, and more in the season is to come. This episode opens up in the aftermath of the previous events with Vanessa in the hospital fighting for her life. Wilson, consumed with urgency, makes it clear that he wants Bullseye kept alive, while the AVTF intensifies their search for both him and Daredevil. Meanwhile, Daredevil himself makes the unexpected choice to help Bullseye, setting the stage for a complicated alliance. At the hospital, BB arrives, but Daniel angrily confronts her, insisting she has no right to be there. He reluctantly reveals that Vanessa is alive, though still in critical condition. As the tension builds, we see Vanessa in a dreamlike state, suggesting she has fallen into a coma. Daredevil brings Bullseye into a tunnel, where the two confront each other emotionally and physically. Their conversation turns to foggy, and Bullseye coldly remarks remarks that he was supposed to die that night he fell from the roof. This strikes a nerve, and Daredevil becomes visibly angry at the mention of Foggy's name. The scene transitions into a flashback where Matt and Foggy are working together on a case. They interview a man named Ray who recognizes Foggy from their shared past. As they talk, Matt and Foggy encourage Ray to take a plea deal, but Ray refuses, revealing that if he goes to prison, he will be killed. It is then revealed that Kingpin and Mr. Wesley have a hand in orchestrating his fate. Back in the present, doctors work frantically to save Vanessa through surgery, while Daredevil struggles to keep Bullseye alive after he falls during their escape. Despite everything Bullseye has done, Daredevil refuses to let him die, unwilling to carry that burden. More flashbacks show Matt and Foggy discussing their dream of opening Nelson and Murdoch. Late at the office, they analyze Ray's case and discover that the warrant used against him was invalid, meaning that all the evidence is invalid to the case. Matt hesitates to help Ray due to his criminal background, but Foggy insists that justice still matters, especially if Ray's life is at stake. The focus shifts back to Daniel, who becomes furious when BB publishes a story about Vanessa. He later shares a quiet moment with Buck, where the two bond briefly while discussing Vanessa's condition. A doctor eventually reports that the surgery was successful and expresses cautious optimism. Another flashback shows Vanessa and Wilson together on a peaceful beach, contrasting sharply with the chaos of the present. Back in reality, Wilson sits beside Vanessa's unconscious body, clearly shaken but trying to maintain control. Daniel and Buck take a drive, during which Buck reveals they are heading to Albany. Along the way, Buck opens up about his past, and they discuss the leak of information about Vanessa that Blake gave to BB. They stop while Buck goes inside. Daniel considers leaving but ultimately stays. Buck retrieves a shovel and a saw, hinting at something far more sinister. A flashback reveals that Wesley once hired a young Buck to kill Ray, tying past and present together. Meanwhile, Matt and Foggy are shown escorting Ray, trying to keep him safe. The narration cuts between timelines as Daredevil and Bullseye make their way to a church. Flashbacks show Foggy giving Ray money to help him escape the city and start over. Bullseye reflects on the nature of identity, arguing that people cannot escape who they truly are, whether they are saving lives or taking them. Ray, in contrast, reminisces about simpler times, longing for a chance to change. As the AVTF closes in on the church, a priest stalls them, giving Daredevil and Bullseye time to escape. Although reluctant, Daredevil is forced to leave Bullseye behind. Another flashback between Matt and Foggy reinforces Foggy's belief in second chances, which motivates Daredevil in the present to return and help Bullseye, just as Foggy once helped Ray. At the same time, Daniel desperately begs Buck not to kill him as the story intercuts with Buck's past mission to eliminate Ray. It is revealed that Buck has captured BB, forcing Daniel to choose between BB and his loyalty to Wilson. In the chaos, Ray ultimately manages to escape. The episode then returns to the present where Daredevil and Bullseye reunite with Paige, who is visibly upset. The episode ends as Vanessa finally wakes up. Wilson is overwhelmed with emotion, relieved to see her cautious once again. In a small but telling moment, Vanessa asks for pineapple juice, something Wilson insists she doesn't like but she requests it anyway, hinting that something is wrong. As Vanessa observes Wilson's harsh treatment of a nurse, she becomes unsettled. She then asks him to tell her the story of how they first met. This leads into a flashback at an art gallery where the relationship began. However, the moment takes a tragic turn when it is revealed that Vanessa is suffering from memory loss. She struggles to speak and eventually collapses again. Doctors rush in as her condition worsens, and the scene ends with a flatline, signaling Vanessa's death. This episode is mostly of flashbacks, but highlights two important details: redemption and second chances. In this episode, it highlights how Foggy was willing to help Ray and give him a second chance even though he had a criminal past. Matt did not want to help Ray because he was a criminal. Now Matt helps Bullseye as he knows that Foggy would have done the same, even with all that Bullseye has done. Vanessa is seemingly dead, and this will hold major implications going forward. Where do you believe the season will go from here? I'll see you in the next one, and as always, God bless all. This episode opens up with the aftermath of episode 5, where Vanessa is officially gone and Wilson Fisk is completely devastated. In his grief and rage, Fisk kills the doctor who has been caring for Vanessa, and Buck quietly disposes of the body. A funeral is held for Vanessa, attended by many key figures. As people give their speeches, the scene cuts between Daredevil, Karen, Bullseye, Mr. Charles, and the AVTF. Fisk places a rose on Vanessa's casket while emotional flashbacks of their relationship play, emphasizing the depth of his loss. The story then shifts to a mysterious scene involving a young girl accompanied by an unknown figure. When guards approach, the girl quickly takes them down, revealing herself to be Jessica Jones. The narrative then returns to the main group of survivors who are attending to Bullseye. Karen strongly disagrees with helping him, while Angela updates her on the current situation and urges her to stay safe. Matt and Karen have a serious conversation about their past, with Karen reflecting on killing Wesley and how it still haunts her. She believes they need to change and even pushes Matt to kill Fisk, but he refuses and instead leaves to meet a contact. It is also noticeable that his suit is transitioning back into the red appearance as the black paint wears off. After the funeral, political tensions rise as the governor expresses concern that without Vanessa, Fisk may become even more dangerous. She discusses the possibility of Sheila running for mayor. We then see BB having a conversation with Daniel before Buck interrupts and pulls Daniel aside. Buck reveals that BB is suspected of being the leak and instructs Daniel to test her loyalty by giving her fake information to see if she takes the bait. Meanwhile, Fisk receives a call from Mr. Charles, who questions him about ongoing imports, though Fisk remains silent. At the same time, public reactions to Vanessa's death are mixed, with some mourning her while others like Javi protest and call her part of the problem. Matt eventually meets with Jessica Jones. Jessica revealed that the guards came to her house were not AVTF. She also reveals that she had been previously contacted by Mr. Charles for recruitment and that he is working with Fisk. They also discuss her daughter Danielle, and Matt asks how she is doing. They also discuss Fisk imports and what they should do next. The two break into a facility and engage in an intense fight against AVTF guards. Together they defeat the guards. Jessica encounters Powell and he recognizes her. The building then explodes as the two escape. Back at the Fisk estate, Heather is shown grieving in Vanessa and Fisk's bedroom, clearly suffering from PTSD. She takes one of Vanessa's earrings and is later confronted by Buck, who assures her that killing Muse was necessary. Heather recounts her traumatic experience with Muse and begins to demonstrate how he attacked her before Buck stops her. Next, we see Daniel and BB meeting on the Staten Island ferry where Daniel tests her and gives her the false lead, claiming that Fisk is not running for re-election in order to see if she is the one who is leaking information. At the same time, tensions continue to build within the AVTF as Powell interrogates the guard who previously interacted with Matt and Karen. Back with Karen, Bullseye talks about Foggy as he says his life for Foggy's. Overcome with emotion, she nearly kills him, fueled by flashbacks and her desire for revenge, but Matt intervenes and stops her. Karen expresses her frustration, questioning why Matt always protects those who hurt them, claiming that she has grown up and now wants revenge. Daniel and BB reach Daniel's mother's house. They talk for a bit, then BB heads to the restroom as Daniel digs into her jacket to see if he can find anything. Next, it seems that BB is going to leak the information. Before she does this, she sneaks into Daniel's room to have a look around. She stumbles across a photo of Daniel's and his father, and with this, she deletes the message before sending it. Meanwhile, Mr. Charles meets with the governor and claims he will resolve the issue at City Hall. Daniel later confronts BB after discovering a device in her possession that she has been using to leak the information, warning her that he may not be able to protect her anymore as Buck is onto her. Next, we see Karen join in on the protest and try to expose Fisk by projecting a video of Ariana claiming that Fisk detained her and held her captive. It responds. Fisk retreats underground where Daredevil comes to confront him. The two discuss why they do what they do and how everything that they do only ends up with the ones that they love dead. Daredevil tells Kingpin that if he leaves New York, he will leave as well. Fisk gets annoyed by Daredevil and they start to fight. Fisk initially overpowers Daredevil, but the battle continues as both refuse to back down. As chaos unfolds, Buck confirms to Powell which guard spoke to Matt and Karen, prompting Powell to kill the guard. The fight between Daredevil and Fisk continues while the protests escalate outside. Javi is knocked down unconscious by an AVTF guard and Karen is publicly exposed when her wig is removed. The episode ends on a cliffhanger as Powell sees Karen and captures her. This episode shows the impact that Vanessa's death has had on Kingpin. Jessica Jones is now officially here and the Defenders are coming. Karen is now sent on revenge and she is captured by the AVTF. With 2 episodes left in the season, the story is ramping up and the season is set for a wild finish. Where do you believe the season will go from here? I'll see you in the next one, and as always, God bless all. This episode opens with the view of Avengers Tower, showing the aftermath of the protest. We see Daredevil and Fisk, with Fisk looking at Vanessa's earrings. The scene then cuts to Karen, who is now a prisoner. She turns in her belongings and is escorted to her cell. Fisk arrives at the prison and speaks with Karen, telling her that people may see her as a hero, but she is actually a criminal. Karen confronts him, saying he is scared, but Fisk grabs her and insists that it's about order. The story shifts to Mr. Charles, who wakes up to Jessica Jones confronting him. She questions why he sent guards after her, and he claims that it was only meant as a warning. Jessica threatens to kill him if he tries again. Mr. Charles states that he is the only one who can connect her with Luke Cage, who may be working for him under Force and is currently overseas. He also claims that he is no longer working for Fisk and is trying to take him down, with the governor wanting Fisk removed from power. Jessica later speaks with Matt, telling him that Fisk plans to kill the governor. Matt and Jessica meet with Cherry, who informs them where Karen is being held and claims that she is being processed and will have a court date. He warns Matt that breaking her out would only prove Fisk being right, labeling him a criminal. Jessica leaves to return to Danielle, possibly setting up her return later. Meanwhile, Matt speaks with Bullseye at the hideout. He admits he hates him for his past actions but struggles between wanting to kill him and needing to forgive him. Matt ultimately lets Bullseye go, giving him a good deed to carry out, though we do not hear what it is. Brett visits Karen and explains that he brought her in, but can only do so much to help. As he escorts her out, Daredevil appears. Karen refuses to escape with him, choosing instead to face Fisk in court. Matt warns her that Fisk will humiliate her publicly, but she remains firm. They share a hug and a kiss before she returns. Meanwhile, Hogberg discusses Karen's charges with Fisk, who wants her convicted on all counts. Heather visits Fisk and they talk about love and pain. Fisk reveals the other half of the earrings that Heather stole and she apologizes. Karen is brought to court where Kirsten will represent her. At the same time, Daniel confronts BB about leaking information, leading to an argument about loyalty and consequences. Daniel reveals that Buck could come after them and suggests they run, but it is revealed that he has already informed Buck about their whereabouts. It also becomes clear that Fisk is using Karen to draw Matt out. The court hearing begins with Hogberg and Kirsten presenting their arguments. As tensions rise, Kirsten calls for her co-counsel, and Matt dramatically appears, shocking everyone, including an angry Fisk. Matt questions Powell about the task force, revealing that Fisk created it. Kirsten continues building Karen's defense by referencing past events involving Daredevil the Punisher and the death of Hector Ayala. Meanwhile, the governor contacts the Attorney General, pushing forward with plans to remove Fisk from crime office. Daniel and BB arrive at the location where Daniel admits to his past crimes, and BB encourages him to do the right thing. He lets BB go and stays behind. Back at the courthouse, the hearing is adjourned. Everyone escorts Matt out, but chaos erupts when the task force opens fire. A shootout begins, and Matt is shot in the leg but manages to escape. Elsewhere, the governor is attacked but is saved by none other than Bullseye, who then walks away. Daniel meets Buck and lies about BB's whereabouts, refusing to side with him anymore. Daniel fights back but is overpowered and beaten. Meanwhile, Karen undergoes an evaluation with Heather. Their conversation turns tense as Heather criticizes Karen while Karen pushes back by bringing up Vanessa. Confrontation escalates when Heather slaps Karen and chokes her before leaving. In the final moments, Daniel is badly injured as Buck gives him one last chance. We then see Matt praying in the church as the scene cuts between Daniel, Matt, Fisk, and Karen. As Jessica Jones returns, and the tension builds until Buck ultimately kills Daniel. As Buck walks away, this is where the episode comes to a close. This episode progresses the story greatly. The public now knows that Matt is alive, Daniel is now dead, and BB is now on the run. Fisk will not rest until he takes down Daredevil. With the season coming to a close with the finale next week, how do you believe the season will end? I'll see you in the next one, and as always, God bless all. The finale of Daredevil Born Again Season 2 does not hold anything back and brings the war between Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk to its most explosive point. The episode revolves around Karen Page's trial, where Fisk uses every ounce of his political influence and criminal network to try to destroy Matt and everyone close to him. The Northern Star is brought up as a discussion point by Matt in an attempt to finally expose Fisk's actions and wrongdoings. This goes nowhere, and every attempt to show as evidence for the illegal use of the port and the Northern Star from Fisk. The video testimony from Christoffy is also denied, as they would need Christoffy to be present for the evidence to be valid. Matt realizes that the only way he could have evidence is to have someone who was on the Northern Star there in court with them. As the pressure closes in, Matt realizes the only way to expose Fisk's corruption is to sacrifice the life he has built. It had been established that Fisk and Powell say that Daredevil sank the ship, and this is who was to blame for the wreckage. This is where Matt has to choose. In a shocking moment inside the courtroom, he publicly reveals that he is Daredevil. The confession shocks everyone, and this is where Matt's life will now change forever. After this, the court cannot do anything as the court system has been catered to Fisk and the AVTF, which now with the evidence against Fisk, the court cannot deem anything guilty. Karen is found not guilty and all charges are dropped. At the same time, New York erupts into chaos outside the courthouse. The AVTF violently clashes with protesters and masked vigilantes across the city streets. Jessica Jones returns to help Matt fight back. She now realizes that with Fisk in the fold, nothing will change, and something has to change. Near the end of the episode, Luke Cage also appears in a surprise cameo. As we know from the Season 3 set photos, the Defenders will be returning in the next season, and Jessica Jones, as well as Luke Cage's surprise cameo, is only a small taste of what is to come. The finale does well to close this chapter of Daredevil. Going forward, the series will look and feel much different. As teased already by the showrunners, Season 3 will have multiple villains as opposed to one being Kingpin, as the show has been accustomed to. Although Fisk's crimes are finally exposed to the public, he avoids complete punishment and instead agrees with Matt to leave the city in a deal presented to him. Fisk goes back to the beach that he and Vanessa had visited, but he is now alone. Matt, however, suffers the greater consequence. Even after saving innocent people and exposing the truth, he is arrested for his years as Daredevil. Matt cannot erase the things that he has done as Daredevil, and now that the public knows that he is Daredevil, he must face the consequences for his past actions. We also see that BB is now working in New York as a reporter, as she keeps a photo of Daniel on her desk in memory of him. The final scenes show Matt being transported to prison. In the prison, we can also see the AVTF guards such as Powell, who were also taken down due to Fisk's criminal empire. This could be setting up a darker storyline inspired by the famous Devil in Cell Block D comic arc for Season 3. The episode also leaves several major mysteries unresolved. Bullseye is revealed to be working for Mr. Charles, who we learn is actually Mr. Robertson. This could be setting up Bullseye joining the Thunderbolts, as Robertson is connected to Val. This could also hint at the creation of the Dark Avengers, as Bullseye is a member of both teams in the comics. Meanwhile, Heather is also set up to become Lady Muse, as she puts on the Muse mask to end the season with her reflection smiling back menacingly. This season was great, and I am looking forward to where the series goes next. I'll see you in the next one, and as always, God bless all.